In the medical paperwork they had, they were told she was 6 years old. And then they say that you're a scam artist. You didn't give them the medical paperwork. Someone had to provide that. If there's a scam here, it doesn't emanate from you.
Right.
Here's another one.
I was putting her into the bathtub, and I noticed that she had full pubic hair. I noticed clothing in her closet that contained at least some remnants of a menstrual cycle.
Okay, and she's talking about at this time you were supposedly 8 years old?
Yeah, I was almost 8.
And she noticed these secondary sexual characteristics. Did she talk to you about that?
No.
She's been with us for almost 7 years. To this day, she does not have a menstrual.
Not one.
Christine did not say anything about bloody clothing or anything to me. And she said that I had one, and she had me use a tampon, and ever since then, I've never...
So she had you use a tampon one
Yes.
time?
And there was spottage, I guess, I don't know why. And she's like, see, that's blood. And
That's probably...
Yeah.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting one. I'm going to cover the mother more than I'm going to cover her. These clips are very short. I was really wanting to get the entire interview with the mother. She only did one interview that I know of, and that was Daily Mail. If you know where another one is, grab it for us, because this is good. When she says pubic hair, she is very tentative. I don't know whether it's because she thinks it's the wrong thing to say on TV, or whether she's feeling like it's inappropriate and wondering if she'll be believable. But she changes cadence. There's a cut in there. I wish it were not there, because she doesn't inhale breath before she says pubic hair. Interesting. Why? Don't know. Would love to know. And then there are at least some remnants when she's talking about that with menstruation. There's a qualifier. She uses a qualifier. She doesn't say, hey, I found menstrual blood on her clothes. You would expect her to say that. And look, I'm not going to get into the biology of that, but I'll just tell you stress. Most women will tell you stress creates lots of hormone changes in them. And we capture prisoners. Women immediately almost always cycle. So stress, if a child's already cycling, you would expect that to happen a lot as she moved from home to home to home. Don't know. We'll hear other people later say it hasn't happened. Meanwhile, the child, the person, Natalia sits there with no blink rate increase, no emotion, nothing. So there's no response to this. Means it doesn't seem to affect her. Mark, what do you got?
So we'll come to the controlling of that message a little bit later on. But the idea of that this is an impossibility or improbability of puberty at the age of 8. Well, no, that is the potentially the start of puberty for modern females. Between 8 and 13 would be within the normal range. You can also have precocious puberty, which means at the age of 6, this could start. And that wouldn't be abnormal. That would be precocious puberty. And there's all kinds of ideas around why this might be earlier. But if you take ideas from the past of when puberty should start, you're going to be in the past because of potentially chemicals in the water right now, and also quite likely the amount of incandescent light that we all have on a more regular basis. The pineal gland reacts in a different way, and puberty can onset a lot earlier. So if that is the smoking gun that people are looking for, it doesn't really pass it doesn't really pass muster, I would say. And it seems to be a little bit hearsay from the past carer as well. Now, the interesting thing for me is the carers, the two adults with her at the time. They use some downward palm gestures at the end to close down that questioning. They moderate that questioning. I think I'd like to know why they want to moderate that question. I'd like to know why they decide to close that down. I think she says she doesn't know why, if this happened, if there was blood, she doesn't quite know why that would be. Again, there's all kinds of good reasons why that would be. There's some very important medical reasons, hormonal reasons outside of puberty, why that might be, which might point towards some other medical care that she's been given, which would be potentially alongside the operation that she's having. All of this to say, it's that as the smoking gun is not good enough from my point of view. Scott, what do you got on this one?
I'll keep this one short and sweet. Here's another thing that doesn't sound right. You know, when they come up with this, the thing about her having her cycle at that section right then, she, like Greg was saying, she just kept sort of doesn't say much. We don't see much emotion at all come from her. This doesn't look right. If she was a con, this wouldn't look right, because she gets that information, doesn't react to it really, but she does react by not reacting. So think of it like that. So I think that with Tooth so far, we've got a couple of things that just don't sound right up to this point. So that kind of, in my little pile of stuff, there's one thing on the bottom. There's that part about the 30 families. Then we have this part up here about she had her cycle when she was so young, and it has them concerned, and they're not the first to be concerned. So for me, the story's starting to sound and feel and look a little bit odd. All right, Chase, what do you got?
I'm no doctor, but I do hold an advanced certification in neuroendocrinology, if that's important to you. This early of menstruation is unlikely to be caused by her actual condition, but there are some factors like genetics, thyroid, pituitary issues, and even some exposure to like endocrine disrupting chemicals like pesticides, dioxin, phthalates that can cause this to happen. I don't think that's likely here. I called a doctor who is a specialist in this area today, and she agreed that this is not a likely smoking gun, as Mark said. And when Phil says, did she talk to you about that? She says no. She denies it completely, and then goes into explaining how this woman walked her through what a period is and then had her use a tampon. Strange that would happen. And one thing that's interesting here is there's something called an indirect insinuation of wrongdoing here. And this occurs when a person, I'm not saying it's here, this happens when a person communicates in a way to cast suspicion or doubt or the possibility of guilt onto someone else indirectly. It's believed this is largely due to unconscious desires to increase that person's own appearance, rather than directly attack the character of the other person. So if I can push them down, it makes me look a little better.
One of those tape replays.
In the medical paperwork they had, they were told she was 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And then they say that you're a scam artist. You didn't give them the medical paperwork. Someone had to provide that. If there's a scam here, it doesn't emanate from you.
Right.
Here's another one.
I was putting her into the bathtub, and I noticed that she had full pubic hair. I noticed clothing in her closet that contained at least some remnants of a menstrual cycle.
Okay, and she's talking about at this time you were supposedly 8 years old?
Yeah, I was almost 8.
And she noticed these secondary sexual characteristics. Did she talk to you about that?
No.
She's been with us for almost 7 years. To this day, she does not have a menstrual.
Not one.
Christine did not say anything about bloody clothing or anything to me. And she said that I had one, and she had me use a tampon, and ever since then, I've never...
So she had you use a tampon one
Yes.
time?
And there was spottage, I guess. I don't know why. And she's like, see, that's blood. And
That's probably...
Yeah.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.